The massive space station called Nexus Prime had never been so quiet. Ambassador Zephyr of the Altarian Federation stood in the main council hall and felt his hands shake. The big screen in front of him showed a ship moving through space toward their location. This ship was different from anything he had ever seen. It looked angry and dangerous. The metal was dark gray and covered with strange bumps and points. Energy readings from the ship made all their computers beep with warning sounds. Captain Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship called the UES Retribution. He was 47 years old and had fought in many wars on Earth. His hair was gray at the sides and his face had lines from years of hard decisions. Today felt different from any other day in his life. He looked out the big window at the stars and knew that humans were about to meet aliens for the first time. Lieutenant Amy Richards sat at her station and watched the computer screens. She was 28 years old and very good at her job. Her job was to watch for enemy ships and weapons. Right now, her screens showed something that made no sense. There were hundreds of alien ships all around them, but none of them were attacking. They were just floating in space like they were afraid to move. "Sir, we are getting many messages from the alien ships," said Communications Officer Ben Carter. He was a young man with blonde hair who always stayed calm even when things were scary. "Most of them seem to be saying they give up." Morrison looked at his second-in-command, Commander Lisa Brooks. She was a smart woman who had been in space longer than anyone else on the ship. Her dark eyes showed the same confusion he felt. Earth had sent them to explore space and make friends with aliens. They never expected the aliens to be so afraid of them. The truth was that humans had built their technology in a different way than other aliens. While the galaxy had learned to use energy weapons and shields, humans had made better guns and bombs. Human ships were built for war because humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. They knew how to make things that could destroy their enemies quickly. Back on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Zephyr called an emergency meeting. Leaders from many different alien races came to the big meeting room. Some looked like tall blue people. Others had fur and tails. Some had tentacles instead of arms. All of them looked scared. "The humans have arrived," Zephyr said in a voice that shook. "Our computers say their ship has weapons that could destroy planets. Their energy readings match the old records from 10,000 years ago." A tall alien with purple skin stood up. "The predecessors have returned," she said. "We must decide what to do before they attack us." Dr. Emma Walsh worked in the science section of the human ship. She was trying to understand why all the aliens were so afraid. The ship's computer had listened to alien radio signals and translated them into English. The aliens kept talking about something called the predecessors and how humans were just like them. "Captain, I think I know why they are afraid," Emma told Morrison over the ship's communication system. "They think we are the same as some old enemy race that attacked them long ago." Morrison sat in his captain's chair and thought about what this meant. He had orders from Earth to make peaceful contact with aliens. But how could he do that when they were all terrified of him? Admiral Frank Sullivan was in his private room reading reports when the message from Earth came in. Earth Command wanted him to make sure everything went well with first contact. They did not understand that the aliens had already decided humans were dangerous just by looking at their ship on a planet far away. An old alien named Keeper Nor searched through ancient computer files. These files were supposed to be secret, but he needed to find answers. The math was clear. Every time a race like humans appeared in the galaxy, they became very dangerous. Most of them either destroyed themselves or other races had to destroy them. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker was the ship's strategy expert. He brought Morrison a report that made everything worse. The aliens were not just afraid. They were treating humans like they were already at war. Some alien groups were asking for mercy. Others were preparing to attack first. Morrison called a meeting with his top officers. They all sat around a table in a room near the bridge. The room had no windows and the lights were bright white. Everyone looked tired and worried. "We have a problem," Morrison said. "These aliens think we are their worst enemy. They have been afraid of us since before we even knew they existed, Amy Richards spoke up. Sir, our sensors show that some alien fleets are moving into attack positions. They might try to shoot at us first. Ben Carter added, I keep getting surrender messages, but also some that sound like they are preparing for war. They keep mentioning something about children and wanting us to spare their families. Lisa Brooks looked at the papers in front of her. Captain, I think we need to show them we are not here to hurt anyone. But I do not know how to do that when they are this scared. Dr. Walsh joined the meeting through a video screen. I have been studying their communications. They have stories about a race called the Predecessors who almost conquered the whole galaxy. Their technology was just like ours. The aliens think we are either the same race returning or a new race just like them. Morrison felt the weight of the decision on his shoulders. Every human back on Earth was counting on him to make first contact work. But the aliens were so afraid that any wrong move could start a war that would kill millions of people on both sides. Outside the ship, hundreds of alien vessels waited in the darkness of space. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Others wanted to attack before the humans could make the first move. None of them knew that the humans inside the UES Retribution were just as confused. And scared as they were, the next few days would decide if humans and aliens could be friends or if they would become enemies in a war that could destroy both sides. High Counselor Vex of the Draconian Empire sat alone in his private chamber reading files that had been locked away for 10,000 years. His red-scaled hands moved carefully across the old computer screen. The information he found made his blood run cold. The last time a species like humans had appeared in the galaxy, it had taken 17 different alien empires working together to stop them. The files called this old enemy race the Predecessors. They had come from a world much like Earth. They built ships designed for war and weapons that could crack planets in half. In just 50 years, they had conquered most of the galaxy before mysteriously disappearing. No one knew what happened to them, but everyone remembered the fear. Dr. Emma Walsh worked day and night in her lab aboard the human ship. She had collected thousands of alien communications and was trying to understand what they all meant. The aliens kept using words like the return and ancient prophecy and the warrior race. Every message seemed more frightened than the last. The ship's main computer had translated alien history books and news reports. Emma read about wars that happened long before humans even learned to make fire. She read about a time when the galaxy was ruled by fear and death. The descriptions of the predecessors' technology matched human technology almost perfectly. Admiral Frank Sullivan was reading tactical reports when the priority message from Earth Command arrived. The message was simple but important. Make peaceful contact at all costs. Do not let first contact turn into a war. The people on Earth still did not understand that the aliens had already decided. Humans were dangerous. The message from Earth made Sullivan angry. The politicians back home thought this was just another diplomatic mission. They did not understand that alien fleets were gathering at the edge of every solar system. They did not know that entire planets were preparing for invasion. In the deepest part of the galactic archive on a world called Memoria Keeper, Nor continued his desperate search. The mathematical models he found were frightening. Species that developed technology like humans had a 94.7% chance of becoming galactic threats. The few that did not become threats either destroyed themselves with their own weapons or were destroyed by other species, nor found records of 12 different races that had followed the human path of development. 10 of them had been wiped out by galactic coalitions. One had destroyed itself in a civil war. Only one had changed its ways and become peaceful, but that had taken 300 years and millions of deaths. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge watching the alien ships on his main screen. They had been there for 3 days now, just floating in space. Some ships had weapons pointed at the human vessel. Others seemed to be trying to hide behind asteroids. All of them were waiting for something to happen. Sir, we are receiving a new type of transmission, Ben Carter announced from his station. This one is different. It is coming from something called the Galactic Historical Society. Morrison walked over to Ben's station. What do they want? They are asking for a meeting. They say they have information we need to know about why everyone is afraid of us. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker reviewed intelligence reports in his small office. The information painted a clear picture. The galaxy was preparing for war. Some alien races were evacuating their home planets. Others were building new weapons as fast as they could. A few were trying to form alliances against the human threat. The most disturbing report came from the Altarian Federation. They were demanding that all alien races join together to destroy humanity before humans could build more ships. The Altarians remembered the predecessors better than anyone because their world had been conquered and enslaved for 20 years. Dr. Emma Walsh made contact with the Historical Society through an encrypted communication channel. The aliens on? The other end seemed nervous but willing to talk. They told her things that made her hands shake as she typed notes. The predecessors came from a world with one large moon, the alien historian said. They had blue oceans and green lands. They fought wars against themselves for thousands of years before reaching the stars. Does this sound familiar to you? Emma's heart beat faster. The description matched Earth perfectly. Their first ships were built like weapons, the historian continued. They used nuclear power and kinetic weapons. They thought like soldiers, not explorers. They made alliances by threatening war, not by offering friendship. Emma realized that humans and the predecessors had developed almost exactly the same way. No wonder the galaxy was terrified. Commander John Hayes led a small team to meet with aliens on a neutral space station called Centauri Station. The station was designed for diplomatic meetings between different alien races. It had rooms with different atmospheres and gravity levels to accommodate various species. Hayes brought 3 other humans with him. Lieutenant Dan Cooper was their security officer. Dar Sarah Kim was their medical expert. Ambassador Robert Lee was their diplomatic specialist. All 4 humans wore their best uniforms and carried no weapons. The meeting lasted exactly 17 minutes. The aliens took one look at the humans and began evacuating the entire station. Within an hour, the station was empty except for a message written in broken English on a wall. Please show mercy to our children, it said. Hayes and his team returned to the ship feeling confused and sad. They had hoped to make friends, but instead had caused an entire space station to empty out in fear. Professor Kate Morris was a scientist who studied alien cultures. She had insisted on coming on the mission even though she was 60 years old and had never been in space before. She spent her time reading alien literature and trying to understand how alien minds worked. Kate made contact with a secret group of alien historians who were willing to share dangerous information. They told her about the time of the predecessors and how it had changed galactic civilization forever. After the predecessors were defeated, one historian told her the galaxy made a choice. We decided to limit our own technology to make sure. We never created another warrior race. We stopped making better weapons. We stopped building military ships. We chose to stay weak rather than become monsters. This explained why alien technology seemed so advanced in some ways but so primitive in others. They had fusion power and faster than light travel, but their weapons were weak, and their ships were not built for fighting. Captain Morrison called another meeting with his senior staff. The situation was getting worse every day. More alien fleets were arriving. Some were trying to surround the human ship. Others were building defensive positions around nearby planets. We need to make a decision, Morrison told his officers. We can try to prove we are peaceful, but that might take months or years. Or we can use their fear to our advantage and make them do what we want. Amy Richards looked uncomfortable. Sir, if we use their fear, we will become exactly what they think we are. We will become the predecessors. Lisa Brooks nodded in agreement. The crew did not sign up to be galactic conquerors. They came here to explore and make friends. Dr. Walsh joined the meeting through video link. Captain, I think I understand what happened to the predecessors. I believe they destroyed themselves. The fear and hatred they created turned the entire galaxy against them. Eventually, they could not maintain their empire and it collapsed. Morrison realized that humanity faced the same choice the predecessors had faced long ago. They could try to rule through fear, or they could try to earn trust through patience and understanding. The choice they made would determine not just human future, but the future of the entire galaxy. The emergency session of the Galactic Council turned into chaos within the first hour. Representatives from over 300 different alien species filled the massive meeting hall on Nexus Prime. Some aliens looked like tall blue people with 4 arms. Others had tentacles and green skin. Many had fur or scales or features that humans had never imagined. Ambassador Zephyr stood at the center podium trying to keep order, but his voice was lost in the shouting. The Altarian delegation was demanding immediate military action against the humans. They stood up waving their arms and speaking in angry voices about the need to strike first before the humans could build more ships. "We cannot wait," shouted Commander Vell of the Altarian military. "Every day we delay gives them time to call reinforcements from their homeworld. We must attack now while we still can." The Crystalline Collective disagreed strongly. Their representative was a tall being made of what looked like living diamond. When she spoke, her voice sounded like musical chimes. "Violence will only prove that we are what they expect us to be. We should try to communicate and find peaceful solutions." Meanwhile, aboard the UES Retribution, the human crew was dealing with their own problems. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Nancy Green walked through the ship checking on the crew's mental health. Many of the humans were showing signs of stress and depression. They had signed up for an exciting mission to explore space and meet aliens. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a situation where everyone in the galaxy seemed to hate them. Petty Officer Mike Turner sat in the ship's cafeteria staring at his food. He was a young man from Ohio who had always dreamed of seeing alien worlds. Now he spent his days listening to surrender messages and threats of war. "I just wanted to see new places," he told Dr. Green. "I never wanted anyone to be afraid of me." Dr. Green tried to comfort him, but she felt the same way. The crew was starting to ask questions about whether they should just go home to Earth. Some wondered if first contact had been a mistake. Commander John Hayes prepared for another diplomatic mission. This time he would visit the neutral world of Centauri Station again. The station managers had agreed to one more meeting after the humans promised to bring only one person and no weapons. Hayes chose to go alone this time. He wore a simple civilian outfit instead of his military uniform. He carried no weapons and brought no guards. The shuttle trip to the station took 2 hours and gave him time to think about what he would say. The meeting room on Centauri Station was designed to look peaceful. The walls were soft blue, and there were plants from many different worlds growing in small gardens. When Hayes entered, he found 3 aliens waiting for him. They sat as far away from him as possible and looked ready to run. The first alien was from the Peaceful Traders Guild. She looked like a large cat with orange fur and green eyes. When she spoke, her voice was very quiet. "Please tell us what you want from our galaxy. We will try to give it to you if you promise not to hurt our people." Hayes felt his heart break a little. "We do not want anything from you," he said. "We came here to make friends and learn about your cultures. We never wanted anyone to be afraid." The second alien was from the Academic Alliance. He looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard with bright blue feathers. "But your ship has weapons that could destroy entire worlds. Your people come from a planet where you fought wars for thousands of years. How can we trust you?" The third alien was very old and came from the Historical Preservation Society. She looked almost human except for her purple skin and silver hair. "We have records of what happened when the predecessors came. They said the same things you are saying now. They promised peace while building weapons of war." Hayes spent 3 hours talking with the aliens. He showed them pictures of Earth and videos of human culture. He talked about human art and music and literature. But every good thing he shared was overshadowed by human history of war and violence. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Professor Kate Morris had been working with the secret group of galactic historians for days. These aliens were willing to risk their lives to share forbidden knowledge with the humans. The predecessors were not human, one historian told Kate, through an encrypted communication, but they developed exactly like humans did. They came from a world with constant warfare. They built technology designed for destruction. Most importantly, they made the same choices humans are making now. Kate asked for more details. The historian sent her files that had been hidden for thousands of years. The predecessors had started with good intentions. They wanted to explore space and meet other species. But when they found that other aliens were afraid of them, they chose to use that fear instead of trying to overcome it. The predecessors ruled through terror for 50 years, the historian explained. But ruling through fear is exhausting. Eventually, they had to fight rebellions on every world they controlled. They spent all their time and energy putting down revolts instead of building anything good. In the end, they destroyed themselves, fighting wars on 1,000 different fronts. Captain Morrison read Kate's report with growing understanding. The galaxy was offering humanity the same choice the predecessors had faced. They could become conquerors and rule through fear, or they could find another way. Intelligence officer Ryan Thompson brought Morrison more bad news. Several alien factions were definitely preparing to attack. The Altarian Federation was building a new type of weapon specifically designed to destroy human ships. The Draconian Empire was forming military alliances with species that had never worked together before. "Sir, they are planning a coordinated strike?" Thompson reported. "Multiple fleets hitting us from different directions? They think if they can destroy our ship before we call for reinforcements, they can prevent a full-scale invasion." Morrison called his senior staff to the main conference room. The room had a large table surrounded by comfortable chairs. On the walls were pictures of Earth and the human colonies in the solar system. Everyone looked tired and stressed. "We have reached a critical point," Morrison told his officers. "The aliens are going to attack us soon. We can fight back and probably win. Our weapons are better than theirs, and our ship is built for combat. But if we fight, we become exactly what they think we are?" Amy Richards spoke first. "Captain, if we fight, we prove their worst fears are correct. Even if we win the battle, we lose any chance of peace." Then Carter agreed. "The communications I am receiving show that many aliens want to find a peaceful solution, but the fear is spreading faster than reason. Some groups are talking about evacuating entire star systems." Dr. Walsh joined the meeting through video link from her laboratory. "I have been studying their military capabilities. Their weapons are designed for defense, not offense. They have not fought a real war in thousands of years. They are not prepared for the kind of conflict humans know how to fight." Lisa Brooks looked at the tactical displays showing alien ship positions. "We could easily break through their formations and escape back to Earth, but that would leave them thinking humans are cowards who run when faced with real opposition." Morrison realized that every option led to problems. Fighting would make humans look like the predecessors. Running would make humans look weak. Trying to communicate had not worked because the aliens were too afraid to listen. "There has to be another way," Morrison said. "We need to show them that humans are different from the predecessors without using weapons or running away." D.R. Green suggested sharing human culture and history more widely. "Maybe if they understand how humans changed from warlike to peaceful, they will be less afraid." Professor Morris had a different idea. "What if we offered to help them with a problem they cannot solve themselves? Show them that human technology can be used for good instead of destruction." Ryan Thompson checked his intelligence reports. "Sir, there is something happening in the Kepler system. A large space station is having technical problems and might crash into a populated planet. The aliens do not have the technology to fix it or move it safely." Morrison felt a spark of hope. "How far is the Kepler system from here?" 3 days. "Travel at maximum speed," Thompson replied. Morrison made his decision. "Set course for Kepler system. We are going to show this galaxy what humans really stand for." The first shots of the war came without warning from the Zephyrian defense fleet. Admiral Keth had decided that waiting for the humans to attack first was too dangerous. His 12 warships dropped out of faster than light travel directly in front of the UES Retribution and opened fire immediately. The Zephyrian weapons were energy-based and designed to disable enemy ships without destroying them completely. Bright blue beams of concentrated power struck the human ship's hull, expecting to overload its systems and force a surrender. Instead, the beams seemed to bounce off harmlessly. Shields holding at 98%, Amy Richards reported from her tactical station. She sounded surprised by how little damage the alien weapons had caused. "Sir, their weapons are not designed to penetrate our armor." Captain Morrison felt sick to his stomach. He had hoped to avoid any fighting, but now alien ships were shooting at his crew. "Return fire," he ordered reluctantly. "Target their weapon systems only. Do not destroy their ships." The Retribution's main guns fired once. The kinetic weapons were designed to punch through asteroid fields and enemy armor during Earth's wars. Against the lightly built alien ships, they were devastatingly effective. All 12 Zephyrian vessels were disabled within 30 seconds. Their engines were destroyed and their weapon systems were completely gone. Admiral Keth floated in the wreckage of his command ship and watched his fleet burn around him. The human ship had not even moved during the battle. It had simply pointed its weapons and fired once. In 30 seconds, the most powerful fleet in Zephyrian history had been reduced to floating scrap metal. "Send a message to all Zephyrian worlds," Keth told his communications officer with a broken voice. "Tell them we failed. Tell them the humans are more powerful than we ever imagined. Tell them to surrender before more ships are destroyed." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light travel. Within hours, every alien government knew that human weapons were far more advanced than anyone had estimated. The fear that had been building for days turned into complete panic. Chief Engineer Paul Davis worked frantically in the ship's engineering section, trying to make the human vessel appear less threatening. He modified the ship's energy output to make it seem smaller and weaker. He changed the design of the hull plating to look less aggressive. Nothing worked. Every change seemed to make the aliens more afraid instead of less. "Captain, the problem is not how the ship looks," Davis reported to Morrison. "The problem is what the ship can do. Our fusion reactors put out more power than some alien civilizations use for their entire planets. Our kinetic weapons look like planet-destroying mass drivers to people who have never seen real military technology." Communications specialist Helen Clark intercepted thousands of alien messages every hour. The content was getting more disturbing as time passed. Entire star systems were surrendering to humans even though humans had made no demands. Alien governments were offering tribute and begging for mercy. "Sir, I am receiving surrender offers from species we have never even heard of," Helen reported. "They are offering to give us their worlds and serve as our slaves. Some are offering their children as hostages to prove their loyalty." Morrison felt disgusted. This was not what humans had wanted when they reached for the stars. They had dreamed of making friends and learning about other cultures. Instead, they had become the monsters that alien children would have nightmares about. Dr. Emma Walsh finally established meaningful contact with the Galactic Historian Society. The secret organization was willing to share dangerous knowledge if it might prevent another galactic war. What they told her was both terrible and hopeful. "The predecessors started exactly like you have started," the lead historian explained. "They came in peace but were met with fear. They tried to prove they were friendly, but every demonstration of their power made things worse. Eventually, they stopped trying to be peaceful and embraced their role as conquerors." Emma asked what made the predecessors different from humans. The historian's answer was disturbing. "Nothing made them different," she said. "They were just like you. They had families and art and music. They loved their children and wanted to explore the galaxy. But fear and misunderstanding turned them into something else. The galaxy's terror created the very monster it was afraid of." Emma realized that humanity was walking the same path that had led the predecessors to become galactic tyrants. Every human action was being interpreted as threatening. Even when humans meant to be helpful, Captain Morrison faced the most difficult decision in human history. 3 options lay before him, and all of them had terrible consequences. He could embrace the galaxy's fear and use it to make humanity the dominant power among the stars. He could try to prove humans were peaceful even though every attempt so far had failed. Or he could order the Retribution to return to Earth and leave the galaxy alone. The first option would make humanity into the new predecessors. The second option might take decades or centuries and could still fail. The third option would leave aliens thinking humans were cowards who ran away when challenged. The decision was made for him when Ryan Thompson brought urgent news about the Kepler system. The massive orbital habitat called Kepler Station was falling toward the planet below. The station housed over 2 million aliens from dozens of different species. If it crashed, the impact would kill everyone on the station and probably cause massive damage to the planet. The alien rescue fleets cannot reach the station in time, Thompson reported. Their ships are not powerful enough to change the station's orbit. They estimate impact in 18 hours. Morrison saw an opportunity to show the galaxy what humans really stood for. Set course for Kepler system maximum speed. Send a message to all alien governments telling them we are going to help. Walsh objected to the plan. Captain, they might think this is a trick. They might believe we caused the problem so we could pretend to solve it. Maybe, Morrison replied. The 2 million innocent people are going to die if we do nothing. That is not acceptable. The journey to Kepler system took 16 hours at maximum speed. During the trip, Morrison received hundreds of messages from alien governments. Some begged him not to interfere. Others offered him anything he wanted if he would save the people on the station. A few accused him of causing the disaster in the first place. Amy Richards worked with the ship's computer to calculate exactly how to move the massive station safely. The structure was over 50 kilometers long and weighed billions of tons. Moving it would require precise application of force at exactly the right spots. Sir, we can use our tractor beam to push the station into a stable orbit, Amy reported. But we will have to get very close, and the station's structure might not be able to handle the stress. When the Retribution arrived at Kepler system, they found chaos. Dozens of alien rescue ships were trying desperately to evacuate people from the falling station. But the station was too big and there were too many people. The alien ships could not save even half the population before impact. Morrison opened a communication channel to all ships in the system. This is Captain Morrison of the human vessel Retribution. We are here to help. Please move your ships to a safe distance while we attempt to stabilize the station's orbit. The alien rescue coordinator was a female from the Centaurian Republic. Her voice shook with fear and desperation when she replied, "Human ship, we do not understand your intentions. Are you here to help or to make demands?" "We are here to help," Morrison said simply. Nothing more and nothing less. What happened next would be remembered in galactic history for thousands of years. The human ship moved into position next to the massive station and extended its tractor beam. The beam was designed to move asteroids and enemy ships during combat. Applied carefully, it could also save lives. Lieutenant Amy Richards coordinated the rescue operation with a precision that impressed even the most skeptical alien observers. She calculated the exact amount of force needed at each point on the station's structure. She monitored stress readings to make sure the station would not break apart. She worked for 6 straight hours without rest to save people she had never met. Slowly and carefully, the Retribution pushed Kepler Station into a stable orbit around the planet. The station stopped falling and 2 million aliens were saved from certain death. The human ship asked for nothing in return and made no demands on the grateful alien populations. The galaxy watched in amazement as humanity used their terrible weapons of war to preserve life instead of destroy it. For the first time since the human ship had arrived, aliens began to wonder if they had been wrong about human intentions. The rescue of Kepler Station changed everything, but not immediately. Captain Morrison ordered his ship to remain in the Kepler system for 3 days to make sure the station was stable and safe. During those 3 days, something unexpected happened. Aliens began to approach the human ship voluntarily. The first visitor was Dr. Zen from the station's medical center. She was a tall blue alien with 4 arms who had spent her life helping sick and injured people. She asked permission to come aboard the human ship to thank the crew personally for saving her patients. Morrison agreed to the meeting but kept security tight. Dr. Zen arrived in a small shuttle with no weapons and no guards. When she stepped onto the human ship, she looked around with curiosity instead of fear. "Your ship is very different from ours," she told Morrison as he gave her a tour of the bridge. "Everything is built for efficiency and survival. Our ships are built for comfort and beauty." Amy Richards explained how human ships were designed. "We come from a world where we had to fight to survive. Our technology reflects that history, but we use that same technology to protect people now." Dr. Zen seemed to understand. "You are warriors who chose to become guardians," she said. "That is why your ship feels both dangerous and safe at the same time." The conversation with Dr. Zen gave Morrison an idea. Instead of trying to hide human military capabilities, maybe humans should show aliens how those capabilities could be used for good instead of evil. Professor Kate Morris worked with alien historians to establish the Truth Commission. This new organization would share accurate information about human culture and intentions with the galaxy. The commission would also study why the galaxy had become so afraid of military technology. The Truth Commission's first report was broadcast to every alien government in the galaxy. It told the story of human development from primitive tribes to space-traveling civilization. It explained how humans had learned to control their violent instincts and work together for common goals. Most importantly, the report explained the difference between humans and the predecessors. Both species had developed similar technology, but humans had made different choices about how to use that technology. The predecessors used their power to conquer and control, the report stated. Humans use their power to protect and preserve. The technology is similar, but the intentions are completely different. Dr. Emma Walsh worked with alien scientists to share human medical and engineering knowledge. She showed them how human fusion technology could provide clean energy for their worlds. She demonstrated how human medical techniques could save lives that alien medicine could not help. The sharing of knowledge was slow and careful. Many aliens were still afraid that humans were trying to trick them. But gradually, some brave alien scientists began to work with human researchers on joint projects. The real turning point came during what historians later called the Siege of Kepler Station. 3 weeks after the rescue, a group of extremist aliens tried to destroy the station because it had been contaminated by human contact. They believed that any alien who trusted humans was a traitor to their species. The extremists came from the Purist Alliance, a radical group that wanted to destroy all human technology and kill any alien who cooperated with humans. They attacked Kepler Station with suicide ships loaded with antimatter bombs. The station's defenses were not designed to stop such a desperate attack. The alien rescue ships in the area were too slow and too weak to intercept the suicide bombers. It looked like the 2 million people Morrison had saved were going to die anyway. The UES Retribution was 3 light-years away when the attack began. Amy Richards detected the attack on long-range sensors and immediately calculated an intercept course. The human ship could reach Kepler Station in 2 hours if they pushed their engines beyond safe limits. "Sir, if we go to maximum acceleration, we can save the station," Amy reported. "But we will arrive with very little fuel and no way to retreat if this is a trap." Morrison did not hesitate. "Set course for Kepler Station, all power to engines." The Retribution arrived just as the first suicide ship was preparing to ram the station. Human weapons designed for space combat proved devastatingly effective against the small, fast attack craft. The ship's point defense systems destroyed 12 suicide bombers in 30 seconds, but the human intervention caused a new problem. Many aliens interpreted the battle as proof that humans were actually controlling the extremist attack. They believed the rescue was staged to make humans look like heroes. Lieutenant Amy Richards solved the problem with a brilliant tactical decision. Instead of destroying all the remaining suicide ships, she disabled them and captured their crews alive. When the alien crews were interrogated, they confessed to being members of the Purist Alliance and admitted that humans had nothing to do with their attack. The confession was broadcast across the galaxy, and finally convinced many aliens that humans were genuine in their desire for peace. The extremist attack had backfired by proving that humans were willing to risk their own lives to protect aliens even when those aliens suspected human motives. Ambassador Carol Wright arrived from Earth 6 months after first contact to serve as humanity's diplomatic representative to the Galactic Council. She was a skilled negotiator who had helped end several wars on Earth. Her job was to establish formal relations between humanity and the galactic community. Wright's first speech to the Galactic Council became known as the Humanity Doctrine. She outlined Earth's commitment to peaceful coexistence while maintaining their right to defend themselves and others. She proposed a new model for galactic civilization based on cooperation instead of fear. Humanity does not seek to rule the galaxy, Wright told the assembled alien representatives. We seek to join the galaxy as equals and partners. We offer our strength to protect the weak and our knowledge to benefit all species. The response was mixed but more positive than anyone had expected. Some alien governments immediately opened diplomatic relations with Earth. Others remained suspicious but agreed to limited cooperation. A few extremist groups continued to oppose human contact, but they found less support among their own people. 1 year after the UES Retribution's arrival, the galaxy looked very different. The human presence had sparked a renaissance of technological innovation as alien species began to overcome their self-imposed limitations. Fear of becoming like the predecessors had held galactic civilization back for thousands of years. The Altarian Federation became humanity's strongest supporter after human engineers helped them rebuild their cities using advanced construction techniques. The Crystalline Collective began joint research projects with human scientists to develop new forms of clean energy. Even the suspicious Draconian Empire eventually agreed to limited trade agreements. Captain Morrison was promoted to admiral and assigned to serve as humanity's military liaison to the Galactic Council. The man who had arrived as an explorer had become a bridge between two very different approaches to civilization. The UES Retribution was converted into a mobile embassy and research vessel. The ship that had once inspired terror across the galaxy became a symbol of humanity's commitment to using strength for protection rather than conquest. New human ships began arriving in alien space, but they were built differently from the Retribution. The new vessels were clearly designed for exploration and diplomacy rather than war. They carried scientists and teachers instead of soldiers. They brought gifts of knowledge and friendship instead of weapons and threats. Professor Kate Morris established the Institute for Galactic Understanding on a neutral world halfway between Earth and the Galactic Center. The Institute became a place where humans and aliens could meet and learn from each other without fear or suspicion. The fear had not completely disappeared. There were still aliens who believed humans were too dangerous to trust completely. There were still humans who thought they should use their technological advantage to dominate the galaxy. But these voices were growing quieter as cooperation proved more profitable than conflict. Admiral Morrison often reflected on those first terrifying days when the galaxy had stood frozen in fear. Humanity's choice to extend a hand rather than a fist had transformed that fear into something resembling respect and hope. The future remained uncertain, but for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy looked toward tomorrow with optimism instead of dread. The legacy of that choice would echo through galactic history for generations to come. Humanity had proven that technological power combined with moral purpose could light the way to a better future for all sentient life. The galaxy had learned that strength did not have to mean oppression, and humanity had learned that with great power came the opportunity to define not just their own destiny but the character of civilization itself.